Okay, so now let's look at the squat. Fundamental movement, absolutely fundamental movement. We use it for everything in life, or we used to use it for everything in life at least. A resting position, a working position, a birthing position, elimination, all of these things, supernatural position for the squat. It's not to build a bigger booty for summer. Now we can use it to build a bigger booty for summer, but that's not the idea. It's a fundamental human movement pattern, so we want to train it. And if possible, we're going to use it to load up as well and get super, super strong. We can use it to get super, super strong because we can train a lot of joints at the same time while asking the spine to work really, really hard, or the trunk to work really, really hard to stabilize the spine. So what we're going to do is look at a bunch of different squats. And we're going to see what we can do, or what you might see in your own squat, and how you might be able to help optimize and improve that. So first off, we're going to look at John. If he turns maybe sideways to the camera, and we're just going to watch John drop down into a squat. Okay, that's it. Nice, perfect. And look at that. We can see with John that he's got nice, tons of hip flexion, tons of knee flexion, and relatively good ankle flexion. Okay, this is a really nice natural squat. We don't need to worry about this too much. It's a beautiful resting position. It's everything we need in a squat. Maximum hip flexion, maximum knee flexion. Now, as we load it up, we're going to have to work with John to create a little bit more trunk stability. So, John, up you come. Now we're going to take a weight. It can be a club, it can be a kettlebell, it can be a dumbbell, whatever it is. You're going to add a counterbalance. And that's going to force him to engage his trunk a little bit more. And now as he drops down into his squat, good, that's it. Keeping those knees nice and wide. Good. We can see he's a lot taller because he's using that weight to be able to stabilize through the trunk to stay really, really tall. He wants to think about pushing his knees as far forward as possible over his toes, and that's all about counterbalance. The more he can keep his mass over his feet, the better the squat is going to be when it comes to loading it up. Come up again, nice and strong. He's not collapsing through the back, he's not driving his hips up, none of that. So for you, when you're working this might be you might be quite mobile, but maybe not too strong in the core. You're going to really work on a counterbalance. Let's go once more. Counterbalance squat by pushing that weight forward, pushing your knee forward. Don't listen to those myths about not letting the knees go over the toes. We need that to happen. Perfect. Good. And just for funsies, watch what happens when he brings his knees back past or behind his toes. That will always happen. Knees have to go past the toes if you're going to get a good deep squat. And for me personally, I believe if you've got the mobility, you train the mobility, so you drop into that squat. Okay? So that's John, who's quite mobile. Let's look at Daniela, who's got less mobility. And we'll put that here. Okay, so we'll do your regular squat first. So guys, Daniela here is squatting. We see this very commonly, that you're going as deep as you can, but then your body comes forward and you think you're getting deep, but your eyes are really getting deep. Her hips are not dropping. So up we come again. Okay, and this is really common. This is probably the most common squat that we see. So what we do an awful lot to instantly fix this is we just pop your heels onto a 2x4 or some sort of a heel lift, and that takes out the need to flex your ankles. So dropping down again. Good, keeping those knees nice and wide. Look at the difference in her squat. It's amazing. And all of that is because of the counterbalance that's created by eliminating the need for flexion at the ankles. Now, by elevating the heels, we can really get the benefits of training the squat without having to worry about the compensations that poor ankle mobility might lead to our spine, our hips, or anything like that. But we can see Daniela's got great flexion of the hips, great flexion of the knees, and good trunk stability to stay nice and tall. Okay, driving back up. Perfect. So with that little adjustment, we can load that up very safely. We can give Daniela a kettlebell. All right. Perfect. Back and forth we go. And remember, if you've got the mobility, you train the mobility. We don't stop halfway. You go, you find your end range. Go as deep as you can. In your first class, that mightn't be very deep. In 2 years, that might be way, way deeper. But you're constantly looking to progress and build. And for me, strengthen the ranges that we have access to. Really, really important. So if you find that your squat is a little bit more like Daniela's, which is very, very common, similar to my own, really, I've got tighter ankles, you'll see I get to about here, and then I either need to bring my heels up or I round my back. Okay? If you've got a squat like that, which is very, very common, elevate your heels. Super simple, super easy. When it comes to knee pain or hip pain, you go as deep as you can into your squat before you feel any pain. If you do feel pain, you back off. Okay? Don't overcomplicate the squat. We can talk about foot angles, hip angles, all of that kind of stuff. Let's just make it about a getting our sitting down and standing back up motion. Flexion of the hips, flexion of the knees, make it simple, load it up, get strong.